What up everybody, it's your boy Young Fizz and welcome back to another tutorial. Today we are back inside of the Maschine and I'm going to be showing you guys everything you need to know about grids inside of Maschine. So before I get into the tutorial, I need you to do me a favor, and that's go over there, hit that like button as well as hit that subscribe button, and please do not forget to turn on the bell notifications so that way when I drop a new video, you're the first one to be notified. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the tutorial here. This is everything you need to know about grids inside of Maschine. All right, so there are three different grids inside of Maschine. The first one is perform, the second one is arrange, and the third one is the step. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through all three here. All right, so the first grid inside of Maschine lies right here where it says off. So what does this mean? So by having it off, that means when you're playing scene 1, if I hit scene 2, it's going to go to scene 2 right away. So let me show you. So I just switched between scene 1 and scene 2. With this grid being off, as you can see, it snapped right away. Now say for example, we don't want it to snap right away. We want it to end at the end of the scene. So what happens when we have it end at the end of the scene? So let's check it out. So scene 1 is playing. I just pressed the pad for scene 2. Watch right here. Now scene 2 is playing. I just switched it back to scene 1. Hi-hat's gonna come in. All right, so what you just saw there was an example of grids mode inside of Maschine using the perform function. So now that we looked at the perform grids inside of Maschine, now we want to take a look at the arrange. So let's go ahead and go over here. And as you can see right here is where the grids for the arrange come into place. So say for example, we're in arrange mode and we want to do an arrangement and we want to just kind of shape our grids here. So the default is usually 1 bar. If I want to move the grid freely, I can do so by pressing this hashtag here and it becomes unhighlighted. So when this is not highlighted, I can move my grid freely. No problem. I'm going to undo that. Let's say I have it highlighted and I just want to move it down to a bar. I just grab it at the end and I can move it down to bar. Or I can change the value and I can say I want it to be 1/8 notes. All right, so basically it's getting 1/8 notes and then I can get it as fine as 16 notes. Now that we've learned a little bit about the perform grids as well as the arrange grids, let's go ahead and take a look at the step grid. And this is where we're going to be spending most of our time. So step grid in Maschine lies down here. All right. And it's the same concept as the arrange grids, but here you can do a little bit more because this is going to be at the sound level. So as you know, on the sound level, which is found right here, this is where we pretty much will program our beats. If you're a mouse and click type of person, this is going to be your style of editing and you want to make sure you got your grids right. So like I said, so down here is where we're going to edit our grids for our pattern. So say for example, if I turn this off here, I can move my notes freely. All right, so that's the snare drum. I'm moving it freely. Okay, so let me go ahead and undo that. If I turn it on, as you can see, 1/8 is selected. So that means an 1/8 note. So why is this important? This is important to understand because when you're programming hi-hats, you want to be programming on a grid. And let me show you what I mean. So let's go ahead and create another scene. So I'm going to go scene 3. And let's say I want to program some hi-hats. All right, so let me just go ahead and click in some hi-hats here. And right now I have the grid set to 1/8. So let's go ahead and play that. I'm just going to pull up my paint tool here and just paint all that in right there. So the grid is set to 1/8. That's what you're getting for an 1/8. Let's say we want to select this and set it to 32. So now you're having the 30-second note playing. And from there, you pretty much get the idea. We can go ahead and do something triplet. Let's do a triplet. Let's do an 1/8 triplet. And then we can get really crazy with the increments here. All right, so that's how you pretty much use the grids down here. And like I said, when this is all highlighted here, you can move it freely. So let me go ahead and switch back to the arrow here. So this, like I said, you can move this freely around in Maschine. And so that's the cool part about the grids inside of Maschine. Also, what's important is that you have a nudge grid. And so you can tell Maschine how much you want it to nudge it. And this is done using the controller. I may show you this at another time, but basically the idea is you have it set to, let's say, an 1/8, right? And then we want to turn on the grid here. So this basically locks, that button basically locks it into the grid. So let's say we hit the nudge on our keyboard, we move it. And see, you can see how it nudges right there. So that's nudging the 16, but let's say we want it to do a step. I'm going to move that back. Now I'm just going to hit nudge and move it. And it just moves a whole step. And like I said, we can also change it to, let's say, let's do step 4th right here. So we can really move that when we're getting ready to nudge it. And that's, you know, kind of plays into context, which I'll do another tutorial on that at a later date. All right, so to recap, we have learned how to use the perform, we have learned how to use the arrange, and we have learned how to use the step grid inside of Maschine. I hope I didn't bore you guys too much in today's tutorial. I want to thank you again for watching. And as always, make sure you hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications, and we will see you next time. Thank you again. We're out.